Sometimes, the most fascinating discoveries are hiding right there in plain sight, even with places or ideas we think we're familiar with.
Absolutely.
And today, we're doing a deep dive into one such place, Chhattisgarh, often called the Rice Bowl of India.
Right.
Even its name is pretty intriguing. Chattis, meaning 36, and Gar, meaning forts, so 36 forts, symbolizing these ancient structures scattered across the landscape.
Yeah, it immediately gives you a sense of its history.
Exactly. And picture this, nearly 44% of the land, covered in lush forests, rolling hills meeting these really vibrant tribal communities.
It paints quite a picture, doesn't it?
It really does. So I guess the big question for us today is, how does a place like this, so deeply tied to its nature, its ancient traditions, how does it manage to not just, well, survive, but actually thrive and celebrate its unique identity in our world today, which is changing so fast?
That's a really great question to frame this, because what's so remarkable about Chhattisgarh, I think, is how its tribal heritage isn't just some relic in a museum. It's alive. It's part of daily life. You have tribes like the Gond, the Muria, the Halba. They've kept centuries-old traditions going. And think about this. Around 80% of the population lives in rural areas.
80%? Wow.
Yeah, so that's not just a number. It means their specific ethnic food, their unique festivals, their whole way of life. It's incredibly vibrant. It's alive because people are actively practicing it every day.
Okay, so it's sustained through daily practice.
Exactly. So this deep dive, it really will be a journey into the state's soul, I think, showing how nature, spirituality, community, they aren't just like loosely connected. They are the essence of its identity, why it endures.
And speaking of that vibrant living culture, these celebrations, how does that deep connection to nature actually show up? I mean, festivals must be a huge part of it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Festivals in Chhattisgarh are like a direct mirror reflecting their farming roots and those deep tribal traditions. Take Hareli, for example.
Hareli, okay.
Yeah, it's Harvest Festival. Kicks off right as the start of the monsoon season. And the name itself, it comes from Hariali, which means greenery.
Ah, makes sense.
Right. So it's a time when farmers, they don't just use their tools and tend their cattle. They actively worship them, give thanks for, what the earth provides. It's super communal, lots of folk songs, shared meals.
That sounds like a real, genuine celebration of abundance. And, well, my mind immediately goes to the food. Are there specific dishes tied to Hareli?
Oh, definitely. Hareli brings out these delicious, fresh dishes, things like dokla and kanvi, especially these tangy chutneys made with all the fresh stuff that's literally just been harvested.
Seasonal chutneys.
Yeah. And what makes it really special during Hareli is that sharing aspect, the community eating together.
Yeah.
But look, if we're talking unique, long-standing celebrations, you absolutely have to talk about Bastar Dussehra.
Oh, right. I've heard about that one, isn't it? Like really, really long.
It is. Seriously long. Forget your typical Dussehra. This is an extraordinary 75-day event. 75 days.
Wow.
Which makes it one of the longest festivals anywhere in the world. It's held in the Bastar region, and it's all about honoring goddess Danteswari.
Okay. And how does it even start? A 75-day festival must have quite the kickoff.
It does. It actually begins with something called Pat Jatra. It's a ritual where they venerate the sal tree. Locally, they call it Krolo.
Interesting.
Yeah, it shows that deep nature connection again. And during this whole 75-day period, the streets just come alive. You've got tribal dances, really elaborate processions, music everywhere, vibrant handicraft markets.
Sounds incredible.
It really is. It's more than just a festival. It's this powerful celebration of tribal identity, of unity. It showcases a kind of cultural commitment you don't see many places.
75 days. Yeah, that definitely underscores how significant these celebrations are. And I assume the calendar's pretty full. It doesn't stop there.
Not at all. You've also got Tej. That's a monsoon festival, too, dedicated to goddess Parvati. And it's really special for women.
Oh.
So, they dress up in these incredibly colorful clothes, sing traditional songs. It's a celebration of femininity, really, with rituals and feasts. Then there's the Chakrar Samaro.
Chakrar Samaro. Where's that held?
In Regar. It's a cultural festival honoring Maharaja Chakradhar Singh. He was a big patron of music and dance.
Ah, okay. So what kind of performances would you see there?
This one's particularly known for showcasing stunning Kathak performances. And it highlights the unique Regar Gharana. That's a distinctive style that really beautifully blends classical Kathak with local folk arts.
A blend of classical and folk. Interesting.
Yeah. So what all these festivals together show, it isn't just like a love for partying. It's this profound understanding in Chhattisgarh that identity isn't some fixed thing. It's dynamic, it's alive, and it gets renewed every year through these big community rituals,
Yeah.
especially for the tribal communities. It's honestly like a masterclass in cultural resilience.
That's a really beautiful way to think about it. So much of a culture's soul comes through in its festivals.
Yeah.
But for a place called the Rice Bowl of India, I've got to imagine the food traditions are just as deep. How does that connection to nature, especially the forests you mentioned, translate into the flavors, the cooking practices?
Right, that's where it gets really fascinating. Because, yes, Rouse is definitely the star, like you said. But the cuisine's profound connection to nature, that's what really sets it apart.
How so?
Well, we're talking about people using over 70 varieties of leafy greens. 70.
Hmm.
And maybe 25 types of tubers and roots, all sourced directly from the forests.
Wow, that's incredible diversity.
It is, and it's not just about eating natural food. It points to this deep, indigenous knowledge of the local plants for food, but also for medicine. It's a culinary philosophy built over centuries.
So the emphasis is on wholesome, nutritious.
Exactly. Wholesomeness, nutrition. And reflecting that rural tribal base we talked about, most dishes are actually vegetarian.
Okay, that makes sense. So paint me a picture. What might a typical breakfast look like in Chhattisgarh using these kinds of ingredients?
Okay, well, you might start your day with muthia.
Muthia.
Yeah, they're these wonderful steamed rice dumplings, lightly seasoned with spices. They're incredibly light, healthy, perfect with a spicy green chutney. And that chutney is often made with local forest herbs.
Steamed dumplings. Sounds great. What else?
Then there's chila. It's sort of a flatbread-like dish made from rice batter and urad dal. You might think of a dosa,
Okay, yeah.
but it definitely has its own Chhattisgarhi twist. It's usually a bit thicker, maybe more like a pancake. And then, especially for those really hot summer days, you have bourbasi.
Bourbasi. What's that?
Super simple, actually. It's just cooked rice that's been soaked in water or maybe buttermilk, served simply with some pickle and raw onion. Sounds basic, but it's wonderfully refreshing and satisfying. A real testament to simplicity.
Yeah, using simple, cooling food to beat the heat. I love that. Okay, what about snacks? If someone's exploring, maybe looking for street food or just everyday bites, what are the must-tries?
Right, snacks. You absolutely cannot miss farah.
Farah.
Yeah, think of them as maybe Chhattisgarh's answer to momos, but healthy and flavorful. There's steamed rice dumplings again, flavored with coriander, really minimal spices. Very popular.
Okay, steamed, not fried. Interesting.
Exactly. Then there's bara. It's a light, savory snack made from fermented urad dal. You see it a lot at festivals, weddings, especially popular down in the Basta region.
Fermented dal, like a vada.
A bit like that, yeah, but lighter. And if you're a street food fan, then bhaji are essential. Fritters.
Oh yeah, I love bhajer.
Right. Here they make them with chili, onion, potato, coated in gram flour batter and fried. Perfect with a cup of chai and some hari chutney. A classic combo.
Okay, my mouth is watering now. It sounds like there's a real focus on fresh ingredients, often steamed or lightly fried. But what about sweets? Does that natural forest connection carry over into desserts?
It really does. And often with traditional significance, too. Take Tilgur. It's a big festival favorite, especially during Makar Sankranti.
Tilgur. Sesame and jaggery.
Exactly. Roasted sesame seeds, jaggery, maybe some peanuts. Just a delightful mix. Perfectly crunchy and sweet. Then you have Tikkur sweets.
Tikkur, what's that?
The tikkur is white turmeric. And they make sweets from its flour, things like barfi or halwa.
White turmeric, I've never heard of that.
It's quite unique. And these sweets aren't just tasty. Traditionally, tikkur is used as a remedy for things like fever, joint pain. And again, it points back to that deep indigenous knowledge of plants.
Food as medicine, literally.
Pretty much. And then often served during Eid, you'll find kurma. That's a sweet dish made with vermicelli, milk, and dry fruits. So, yeah, the cuisine really speaks to how resourceful people are, how well they understand their land, crafting these nutritious, flavorful meals from what nature provides right there.
It's really clear, isn't it? Chhattisgarhi cuisine isn't just about sustenance. It's a celebration of the land, its people, a living part of the culture.
Yeah.
And I have to mention Ahamet quickly.
Yes, Ahmad.
That tangy curry from Bastar. Honestly, I think it rivals South India's sambar. It's got such a unique flavor profile. It's not just food. It feels like a whole culinary philosophy.
Beautifully put. And beyond these amazing tastes and the sounds of the festivals, Chhattisgarh also has this rich history, this artistic side. What about that? What tangible things can visitors see or experience? Ancient sites, arts.
Definitely. There's the Boramdeo Temple. It's often called the Khajuraho of Chhattisgarh.
Because of the carvings.
Exactly. Stunning, intricate carvings really shows a sophisticated artistic past. And if you want a taste of royal history, the Kanger Palace is now a heritage hotel. You can actually stay there and get a glimpse of that era.
Oh, cool.
Mm.
Heritage Hotel. And what about the crafts? Especially the tribal crafts.
Yeah, they're incredibly vibrant. You see everything from intricate bell metal sculptures, dokra art, it's called, to these beautifully hand-woven textiles. They're a real testament to Chhattisgarh's deep artistic traditions.
And they're not just decorative, right? They often have stories behind them or practical uses.
Absolutely. Rooted in daily life. And speaking of arts, it's also home to the Indira Kala Sangeet Vishwavidyalaya.
Okay, what's special about that?
It was actually India's first university dedicated just to music, dance, and the arts.
The first one.
Yeah, which really underlines how serious Chhattisgarh is about preserving its culture through education, even while celebrating all its living folk traditions. It's this really interesting mix of formal preservation and ongoing evolution.
A dynamic blend that seems to capture Chhattisgarh quite well.
And, well, that pretty much wraps up our deep dive into Chhattisgarh for today. From those incredibly vibrant festivals like Hareli and the Marathon Bastard Usera,
75 days.
75 days, to the wholesome, really earthy flavors of dishes like muthia and tilgor and the sheer beauty of the crafts, this state is genuinely a hidden gem, just waiting to be explored.
It truly is.
So if you ever find yourself in central India, we really do encourage you. Dive into its markets, taste the incredible food, maybe even time your visit for a festival. I think you'd find it pretty rewarding.
Definitely. And perhaps as you reflect on Chhattisgarh, consider this. In a world that's changing so rapidly, constantly modernizing, what can we actually learn from a place so deeply rooted in tradition, in nature? Where, such a large rural population actively keeps its culture alive day by day. What does that tell us about identity, about community, and maybe about the real power of natural resources in sustaining who we are? Something to think about.